So this Ovation bass had some pretty big problems. The bridge had come up, and I don't know whether or not, I think someone came along and tried to put something underneath it to glue it that failed and did a lot of, made a great, incredible mess. But I mean, look at that gunk underneath that bridge. It looks like a troll crawled underneath there, and the troll under the bridge died. It was lifted about a quarter of an inch off of the soundboard, so I heated it up with my bridge heater. This is 120 volt unit that gets really hot, and I leave it with the weight on it. That's basically a heat sink for about half an hour to soften up the glue. And because the bridge was already lifted up so high, I could actually go underneath the bottom side of it with my palette knives. I had to mark the location of the bridge because when I needed to take it off, um, I needed to know where to put it back in, and there were no pinholes. So that's what the blue tape is. It's marking the bridge location so that when it comes off, I have a place to put it back in. I marked basically the front edge of the bridge and the edges. So once this is heated up, I go through it pretty carefully, gently prying it and seeing whether the glue has released. And you want it to be sort of soft, not crunchy. So I worked on it with the palette knife. You notice I use a palette knife that is raised, so instead of being completely flat, the blade drops down. This prevents the palette knife edge from gouging into the soundboard when you're using it. It's a lot safer. So I like using these sort of dog-legged um, palette knives to go underneath. So I spent quite a long time with this. This would have probably been an hour in total to try and remove this because it was on there pretty good, and it took a long time to heat up. I think that the glue was an aliphatic resin type glue, basically a type bond type thing. And the person that had done it, they damaged the bridge with, you'll see later on there's these clamp marks that were on it, and the bridge, when it came up, it tore up a fair amount of soundboard material. So it did a fair amount of damage, as one would expect, because this is a bass guitar. It has a lot of string tension, even though it's an acoustic bass. So I'm gently going around just testing to see whether the glue is soft enough now to release, and going around and just carefully probing it, seeing how soft it is. And once it's soft, you kind of know. So the bottom side of it, the other side of it from where it is right now, it was already lifted, so it was pretty easy to get in there. But this side of it was still attached, so I had to be fairly careful. But by this time, the bridge is fairly warm, and I could go underneath it, and there's a point in which you can tell that the glue is ready. It kind of is like firm butter, you know. You can get into it, and it kind of sticks. So you can see me right here going, say, this is getting pretty close. And then you can angle the knife around and basically remove the glue. But it takes quite a bit of effort here in time, and the most important thing is wait until the bridge is hot enough that the glue is soft. You're not going to do a lot of damage to a bridge like this by getting it warm enough for the glue to melt. So I just keep working it. There was a lot underneath here, though. I mean, the glue itself was in pretty, it was pretty destroyed. And the finish all around the finish, the finish on this guitar. I think it's an Applause by Ovation or something. It was like probably a 16th of an inch thick. It was one of the thickest finishes, and it had cracked and damaged as well. So that was not in the budget to fix. Basically, what I had to do was remove the bridge and reglue it, Here you can see that I've basically gotten the treble side of the bridge has been released now, and I'm kind of working on the other side towards the bass side. It's going to come off here fairly shortly. Once you've gotten the one side off, it's it's obviously hot enough that you can see the palette knife slipping in through the glue and cutting the bond. That looks like it almost went, so it's not quite released yet, but now with a little bit of prying in some places. You don't want to be rough here because you can damage the top material if you're not careful. You want to cut the glue, not the top. You can see there's just a ton of gunk underneath both the bridge itself and on the soundboard where the bridge was. There is a section of this that had lifted up with the bridge. So I have to now level off the bridge and remove a lot of the material that's on there so that it, you can't glue the glue. You got to get rid of it. So I basically sanded this bridge and also scraped it with a razor blade until I got the bottom of the bridge ready for replacing. But then you've got to remove all of the glue and any finish that is preventing the glue from being able to attach the two pieces of wood together. There is these little ledges all the way around that had to be removed of the finish. So the finish itself is preventing the glue from being able to go right down, which is why this would have peeled off to begin with. So I usually go around the bridge with a scalpel and mark the edges really carefully so that I can remove all of the finish right down to the wood, and then remove all of the glue that's underneath. And this is a fairly time-consuming process. It takes quite a long time. So I go through and remove it with my little Japanese chisel with razor blades, getting it scraped and removed so that the glue has some wood to bond to. So various cutting and scraping motions here to try and remove all of the glue from underneath it, and all of any finish that is around the edges. They all have to be removed so that the wood can bond. So again, this is edited. It probably took me an hour to get rid of all of the glue that's all around here. It's not a quick process, but it has to be done fairly precisely. Once we have all of the glue removed, then we can reglue the bridge. I use fish glue. Fish glue is reversible. It cleans up well with water, and it's very strong. So I really like using fish glue to glue bridges back on. So right now, what I'm basically doing is just scraping away all of the glue down to bare wood. So that's what I'm doing with the razor blade right here. I also, as I say, use the Japanese chisels to remove sections of it, and the scalpel to create an edge that I scrape up to. So these pieces that have peeled up with the bridge, I made sure that when I glued it, I got glue down underneath them, and I glued those at the same time. These little black dots are locating pins for the bridge, but whoever had taken it off before had cut them, so they were not doing any good at all. Somebody had removed the little bolts that would have been used. So here's it glued up. I used a clamp on one side to glue it, and then I used my other clamps, and there it is all glued up and back in shape, and it worked fine.